So once the class started, please inform me. We have to record the video every time, so that that will be useful for the next those students who missed the class. So now here, to find the direction of force or torque, we need to apply the Fleming's left hand rule. Fleming's left hand rule is used. So according to Fleming's left hand rule, the forefinger denotes the direction of flux and the middle finger denotes the direction of current, and thumb denotes the direction of force or torque. The direction of force or torque. So that according to that, the flux is flowing from North Pole to the South Pole. The flux is flowing from North Pole to South Pole, and place your middle finger in the direction of current, so that the thumb is denoting the it is in this direction. So the flux is flowing from North Pole to South Pole in the downward direction, and the middle finger denotes that is the current going inward, So that please place your middle finger towards your mobile phone, and the laptop, the not thumb denotes the direction of conductor movement. So that this will be the direction of the conductor movement. So got it, everyone? So that is the basic operating principle of the DC motor. Basic operating principle of the DC motor. So students, if you are having any doubts, please clarify your doubts. Please respond.
No, sir. No doubts.
Right. Now see, the application of commutator is in case of DC motor is to produce the unidirectional torque. Unidirectional torque by converting DC input voltage to AC EMF in the armature. So the application of commutator in case of DC motors is it produces the unidirectional torque, so that the conductor will move in the same direction continuously, so that it will form a rotation. So that means continuously it has to produce the torque in the same direction, so that the armature will be rotated. Suppose for one case if it is producing like that, and for the next case if it is producing like that, what happens? There is no chance of rotating the rotor. So to get the rotor rotated, it has to produce the torque in the same direction, so that this will be done by the commutator, that is producing the unidirectional torque by converting DC input voltage. For DC motor, we are giving the DC input voltage, and the EMF induced in the armature is always AC in nature. Therefore, so the commutator is going to convert the armature, supply DC voltage to a AC voltage in the armature. So that we can see in case of a simple loop motor. If you see the simple loop motor, so this is the north pole, south pole, right? So for this one, we are going to connect the load. Mechanical load will be, it will be connected to this one for the shaft. We'll connect the load. And we'll having the commutator, which is nothing but the slip ring. So in between the commutator segments, we are having the insulation. Small mica insulation will be provided here. And the conductors will place the conductors here. So this is conductor AB and this is conductor CD. And this will be welded to the commutator segments. And we are having the brushes here, to which will give the input through a battery. So through this part, we are going to give the battery. So that the current starts flowing in this direction. And this is the brush B1 and this is the brush B2. So that the current will enter to the commutator segment and it will flow in this direction. And whereas here it will flow in this direction. And here also it will flow in the same direction. So like this will go. And it will move here and it will move in this direction. And finally it will reach the negative part. So that this is the current flowing path. The current already given. Why? Because it is a motor. We have to give the electrical input. And this is the commutator segment S1 and it is the commutator segment S2. Now, if you apply the Fleming's left hand rule, right? So in case of this one, the flux is flowing in this direction from north pole to the south pole. So place your forefinger in the direction of flux and place your middle finger in the direction of current so that the thumb denotes the direction of the conductor movement. Direction of the conductor, which means that we have already taken some directions. Whenever there is a cross current going in the upward direction, and when you are having a dot current that is going in downward direction. Right? So here you have a upward current. Upward current is nothing but it is a cross current, and inward is dot. So that so we know already cross is nothing but going into the paper. Into the paper, and whereas this one is coming out of the paper. Coming out of the paper. Right? Therefore, cross current is coming going into the paper, so that place your forefinger in the direction of flux from north pole to the south pole, and the middle finger will be showing into in the inward direction, and the thumb denotes the direction of the conductor movement. Therefore, this conductor will move in the downward direction. Therefore, the blue color conductor will move in the downward direction, so that the force that is appearing on this conductor will be in this direction, downward. Downward force. But whereas if you apply the same rule for the conductor CD, let us name the conductors here. So this is conductor AB and this is conductor CD. So the conductor CD, so place your forefinger and the middle finger will be coming out of the paper and the thumb denotes the direction of the force. So that the force that is experiencing on the conductor CD, it will be in this direction. So it will be the upward force. So that will be developed here. So that this will move in this direction and this will move in this direction. Therefore, the overall rotor will move in this direction. Therefore, the shaft will be rotated in this direction. The load will be rotated in the same direction. Therefore, whenever the flux is flowing from north pole to the south pole, and whenever we are having the conductors which are having cross currents and dot currents on both sides of the north pole and south pole, then the direction of the force will be given by the Fleming's left hand rule. So that this will be the resultant direction of the rotor rotation. Rotor rotation. So like that, you will get the now. So whenever after half rotation, the torque should be in the same direction, so that it will become a complete rotation. So after half rotation, the conductor CD will come under the north pole, conductor AB will come under the south pole. So you'll see that after half rotation, so here I have connected the load. And a split ring. Or nothing but the commutator. So in between there will be some mica insulation. And the conductors here it will be CD now. And here it will be AB. And we know conductor CD will be under the North Pole and AB will be under the South Pole. CD is always welded to the commutator segment S2 and AB will be welded to the commutator segment S1. And here have the brushes. There is no change in the brushes. The brushes are stationary always. So it will be brush B1 and will be brush B2. And to this one will be the electrical. So we are giving the same electrical supply so that the current direction will be in this direction. And this is the current direction. So that is the current direction after half rotation. And the flux always flows from North Pole to the South Pole. So we are having the current carrying conductor and it is placed in the magnetic field. So now we have to calculate the force experienced, right? Now, so place your forefinger in the direction of the current and upward current means are coming current going into the paper. It is cross and it will be dot. Therefore, this conductor will experience some force in the downward direction and this conductor will move experience some force in this direction. Therefore, the resultant torque will be in the same direction. So this is the resultant torque or force in the motor. So that in the both cases, the conductors are rotating the same direction in the anti-clockwise direction. Just check here. So in both the cases, it is rotating in the same direction. So that the application of commutator is to produce the unidirectional torque in the case of motor. Otherwise, it converts so DC to AC. So direct current. So the direct current here to AC. So why? Because in the previous case, here the current is moving from A to B. So in first case, it is moving from A to B, and whereas in the second case, it is moving from B to A. B to A. So therefore, the current will be from A to B and B to A. So that it will be AC. But we are giving DC. So that this DC input is converted into AC in case of motors by using the commutator. But whereas in case of generator, AC will be converted into DC for the load. Clear? So if you are having any doubts, please clarify doubts. Students, please respond. If you are having any doubts, please clarify doubts. Yeah, no doubts, sir. Now, as the constructional details of DC generators and DC motors are same, then the classification of DC generators and DC motors also will be same. as the constructional details are same, same for both generator and motor, the EMF equation and classification of motors will also be same as generator. Same as generator. Therefore, the EMF induced in motor, so we are calling it as EB. EB is nothing but back EMF. EB is called as back EMF, and the formula is 5 Zn by 60 into P by A. EB. And whereas for generator, EG, it is the generated EMF. EG is 5 Zn by 60 into P by A. Both the formulas are same. So why? Because the construction details are same. So it is having the same number of poles and same number of parallel paths, same speed and same impedance, same flux per pole. Everything, if it is same, then the EMF equation is also same, right? And not only the EMF equation, and the classification is also same. What about the classification? So students, please respond. What is the classification of DC generators? You have already written the uh, assignment. What are the classification of DC generators? Please respond. What? Sriram?
Sir,
What is the classification of DC generator?
basic compound
Yeah. Basic classification will be separately excited and self-excited. It is the basic classification based on the excitation, right? And in self-excited, we are having shunt, series, and compound. And in compound, we are having cumulative compound and differential. And in both the cumulative compound and differential compound, we'll make two connections. One is a long shunt connection, short shunt connection. This is the classification of generators. The same will be the classification of motors as well. So the classification will be, first one will be separately excited DC motor, DC motor. And the second one will be self-excited DC motors. In self-excited, we are having DC shunt motor and DC series motor and DC compound motor. And in DC compound, we'll have DC cumulative compound, motor, and here you have DC differential compound motor, and here you can make long shunt connection and short shunt connection, and similarly here also you can make long shunt connection and short shunt connection. So that is the classification of DC motors. So now see the equations and all those things of the motors, right? Clearly. So first of all, separately excited DC motor. Separately excited DC motor. Now see the representation of DC generator will be, so will you represent the generator? The generator will be represented with a resistance here. The same will be the representation of motor also. But because the construction details are same. So that for separately excited also the representation will be same as that of the generator. And the field winding will be excited with a separate source. The field voltage VF, field resistance RF, and the field current will be IF. So where IF is equivalent to VF divided by RF. And this is the motor. For motor, we will connect a DC supply here, not the load. But whereas in case of generator, we connect the load here. Now we are connecting the battery. So V is the supply voltage, I is the line current, and IA is the armature current, RA is the armature resistance, and the motor can induce a back EMF. So back EMF is the EMF that is induced in the motor. So actually the motor has to rotate. So whenever we are giving the electrical energy, it has to give the mechanical energy. But along with that one, it is giving some induced EMF, which is called as the back EMF. So according to Lenz's law, the induced quantity always opposes the very cause which is producing it. So that according to Lenz's law, the induced quantity always opposes the very cause which is producing it. So the back EMF always opposes the supply voltage. So that we are calling it as a back EMF. So it is back. So it is in the backward direction or in the opposite direction to that of the supply voltage. So that we are calling it as the back EMF, right? So EB is called back EMF. It is induced in motor in opposite direction to the supply voltage. According to Lenz's law, right? Inducing EB in motor is called generating action in motors. So motor, it is generating some voltage, so that we are calling it as it is generating action in motors. And if you see the equations here, the equation V, the supply voltage V is equivalent to EB plus IA RA. So the current flow will be in this direction. It will be this voltage plus this voltage is the supply voltage. So V is equivalent to EB plus IA RA. So this is the circuit and the equation for the separately exited connection. Separately exited connection. And the next connection is the self-exited. In self-exited, we are having the DC shunt motor, first of all. The circuit diagram for DC shunt motor is RA EB. And where we connect the load here? So this is the motor, we'll connect the load here for the shaft. The mechanical load we have to connect. So, but whereas in case of generator, we connect the prime mover and we'll rotate here. So whenever it is rotated, it is inducing the EMF and it is applying the voltage to the load. But whereas here in case of motor, we are giving the voltage here and the current flows inward into the that means into the armature and it is rotating the load, right? So that the load will be rotated in this direction. And he will connect the battery. And the field winding should be connected in shunt for a shunt motor. So we are giving the supply voltage V so that it is giving a current of IL, the line current, and the motor is taking an armature current IA. The field is currenting a shunt field current of ISH, and the shunt field resistance is RSH. Right? This is the, and he will connect the load. So if you write the shunt field current equation, ISH is equivalent to V divided by RSH, same as that of generator, and the supply voltage V should be equal to EB plus IA RA. The supply voltage V is equivalent to EB plus IA RA. Clear? So this is the current flowing path here. So in this loop, apply KVL. So once you are applying the KVL, you can get the EMF equation here. So whenever the load is changing, so based on the load, armature current changes. Whenever the armature current changes, and you can write the line current equation. The line current IL is equivalent to IA plus ISH. So entering current here, it is nothing but the leaving currents. IL is the entering current, IA and ISH are the leaving currents. So IL is equivalent to IA plus ISH. Therefore, IA is equivalent to IL minus ISH. That is the armature current calculation. So calculate this armature current and substitute here. Therefore, we can get the terminal voltage from back EMF. So from this one, we can calculate the back EMF as well. EB is equivalent to V minus IR. Right? And this is about the DC shunt motor. DC shunt motor. And for any variation in the load, the load current will vary and the armature current will vary, but not the shunt field current. Therefore, a DC shunt motor is called a constant flux machine, constant flux motor. And the next one is the DC series motor. DC series motor. Armature resistance and the armature. And the field winding should be connected here. And the supply voltage. Mechanical load. Supply voltage, the line current. Series field resistance, the series field current. Armature resistance, armature current. Back EMF. So here how IL is equivalent to the series field current is equivalent to the armature current, and the terminal voltage V is equivalent to EB plus IA RA, and from IA RA plus RSC you have to add both the resistances RA and RSC, and whereas EB is equivalent to V minus IA into RA plus RSC. Right? So whenever the load changes, the armature current changes. Whenever the armature current changes, the series field current changes. So whenever the series field current changes, the flux in the machine will be changes. So that it is not a constant flux machine, it is a variable flux machine. So it is a variable flux motor. Variable flux motor. And the next one is the compound DC compound motor. DC compound motor. In this one, the first one is the cumulative compound. And second one is the differential compound. So cumulative compound means addition of the two fluxes. So the net flux in the machine is the shunt field flux plus series field flux, and differential compound is the net flux is shunt field flux minus the series field flux. So in this we'll have two connections. One is the long shunt connection. In long shunt connection, we'll have the series field winding, armature resistance, armature, to which we'll connect the supply. And here we'll have the shunt field. The shunt field resistance is RSH, current here it is ISH. Supply voltage V, the current here it is IL. And the series field resistance RSC, the armature current IA, armature resistance RA, and here have the back EMF. The equations are IL is equivalent to IA plus ISH. From this one, IA is equivalent to IL minus ISH. And to calculate ISH, it will be supply voltage V divided by RSH. And to calculate the back EMF, EB is equivalent to supply voltage minus the drop in the resistances, will be IA into RA plus RSC. So like that, we can calculate the currents and voltages in case of the long shunt connection. So everything will be same as that of the DC generators, all the formulas, but there will be sign changes for the currents that you have to concentrate here. And second connection is the short shunt connection. In short shunt connection, field winding and the armature resistance and the armature. We'll give the supply voltage to this one and short shunt will be here. The supply voltage V, series field current, resistance, line current, armature current, armature resistance, back EMF, shunt field resistance, the shunt field current. Again, the formula is same. IL is equivalent to IA plus ISH, from which we can calculate IA is equivalent to IL minus ISH. And the back EMF EB is equivalent to V minus IA into RA minus IL into RSC. So why? Because the current flowing in series field winding is the line current, it's not the armature current. So but whereas in the long shunt connection, the current flowing in this case it will be armature current, so that we have written IA into RA plus RAC. And whereas here, so it will be IL into RAC, IA into RA. And to calculate the shunt field current, ISH, apply KVL in this loop, it will be EB plus IA RA divided by RSH, and it is also equivalent to V minus IL RAC divided by RSH. So like that, you can write the connections. So this is the classification of DC. So students, if you are having any doubts, please clarify doubts. Respond. If you are having any doubts, please clarify doubts.
No, sir.
The classification of DC motors and the classification of DC generators will be same, so that I went somewhat faster here. Everything, every network will be same, just there will be change in the formulas. Just look at the generators and same will be the motors. So there will be some small changes in the equations. That's why we have written the equations here. So that's all for today's session. So if you are having any doubts, please clarify. Otherwise, we can conclude this session. We'll meet in the next class. No doubts, sir?
No, sir.
Right. So, okay. Bye, all of you. We'll meet in the next class.